All right, greetings everyone. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror search for Uhuru. Let me check one thing real quick. But before we get started, guys, make sure you hit that like button. Again, please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe. We are approaching 100K subscribers. Approaching. We're going to get there soon. You know, we've been doing this for a minute now. So, guys, I appreciate the support, all the love over the years. I really appreciate it. Also, make sure you go to dynastymir.com and then visit oneafricaproperties.com, your central source for real estate on the African continent. Everyone, we have a special guest on with us today.
Yes.
Fellow UGA alumni.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. You know, go Dogs, everyone. Okay, if you don't be hating on the Dogs, if you're in the chat room. I know Fitzgerald, I know you watching, you Alabama grad, I know you're watching. Don't you hate on the Dogs, okay? Because the SEC championship goes through Athens this year. I know you hate
right.
that I said that, but those are just the facts, Fitzgerald Stevens, because I know you're watching. So, everyone, without further ado, we have the lead attorney on with us today. And today's topic is, we deal a lot with this, brothers with passports, who are, I'm not going to marry here in America. I'm not going to marry an American woman because of, the culture, the laws, society. So, this is not just limited to Africa, because you have a lot of brothers that might go to Central America somewhere, South America, Africa, because we deal with Africa here. And they go over there and they find their African queen. They find their African queen, lead attorney.
Yes.
And then they decide to get married to their African queen. Year or so, you know what? Let's go back to the US. And, I just, because the culture is different in Africa as far as society and women compared to America, I don't think I would dare think that she would try to divorce me in America. I wouldn't dare think that she'll try to use the child support system against me in America. Or can she? Does she have access to all of these resources in America? If I bring my foreign wife to America, do they have access to these resources? Some brothers they won't use it against me. I don't think they have access to it because she's not like that. She hasn't been brainwashed yet by Western society. That's the thought process. But lead attorney, first go ahead and introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are, and then let's just jump right into it.
Yes, thank you. Oh, so go ahead.
Can my African wife, I bring her to America, once she gets here and lands in the States, what's the worst thing that can happen? But go ahead and introduce yourself.
Right. This is such a great question, such a great topic. I am the lead attorney. I am here in Atlanta, been a practicing attorney for about 20 years. And I have a little YouTube channel called The Lead Attorney. It's the same name if you want to go check it out. And I get questions like this a lot, not so much from people who are trying to bring wives from Africa, but people who are thinking about bringing wives from the Dominican Republic, from Colombia, from Brazil, and from the Thailand area. And it's a really good question, but it presupposes a lot of things. And I always like to have men kind of step back, kind of turn the camera notch a little bit back to get a wider picture. Because once men say, hey, I want to get married to this woman and bring her back, we're very far into it. And what I always like guys to consider, number one, is why they want to get married in the first place, right? Because marriage is a big step and it's not for everybody. Everybody can get married, but it's not for everybody. Just like the university system is not for everybody. Just like being a business owner is not for everybody. Being in the military is not for everybody. Working a government job is not for everybody. You can work a government job if you want to. You can apply for the military when you're 18 if you want to. But some people aren't just cut out for all things. And I can tell you, I don't even have to tell you, you see the divorce rate, right? It's 50%. And then so many of that other 50% where they're still married, they're terrible marriages. And I see this on a daily basis in my practice. And so guys really need to step back and ask themselves, why are we getting married in the first place? That really is the first consideration. Then they need to think about, well, if I want to get married for this reason or that reason, why is it that I'm unable to find anybody around me to get married? Why is it that I have to go to Thailand to get married? Why is it that I have to go to Brazil or Nigeria or Johannesburg, right? What am I looking for out there that's not around here? Is it a mentality? Is it a type of escapism? Really be self-reflective, because the laws here are the laws here. And even if you get a woman from over there, wherever over there is, once you bring her back here, you're here. Go ahead.
No, the sound had went out for a second, but you came back in. But you said that I lost you at once you bring her back here, you're here.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Just the laws are, wherever, let's say you meet a girl in Nigeria. I'm not sure what the divorce rates are. Ike Ogiamian says the divorce rates in Nigeria hover around 2 to 3%. He says divorces are just very, very uncommon in Nigeria. And there are reasons for that. What I'm trying to tell you guys is that the reasons that the divorce rates are so low in Nigeria, those reasons are not present here. This environment is much different than the legal environment and the social environment that's in Nigeria. And what you need to realize is that people adapt very quickly. Children adapt very quickly. Children are very resilient, but adults do as well. And women do as well, right? And a woman will live under a certain regime and follow certain social norms when she's in one environment, but then you take her out of that environment and put her into a new environment and she will adjust just like you'll adjust, right? There was a time, Dynas, when you only knew about living here, right? And you were used to the way things are here. You were used to maybe some of the niceties here, and then you went to Africa. You were in a whole another environment. Maybe some of the niceties that you had here were not present there, but you thrived there as well, right? And you got used to how it was there. Women will do the same thing. And so a misconception that men have is thinking that the women are over there. They think that's an inbred and inborn mentality that they have. They do not realize that it's really the system, it's really the environment that they're in. They just think that it's part of the women. So take, for example, I think like some fish, like a goldfish. Supposedly there are fish where, I think it's a goldfish, but other fish as well, let's say a type of shark, where you'll have a type of shark and it'll only grow to 3 feet if you keep it in a small aquarium. But if you put it in a very big aquarium, if you bring it to SeaWorld, it's going to be 12 feet.
Right.
And it could very well be that you go to Nigeria and you see all these, 3-foot women and you think they're actually 3 feet because of the environment, the way the laws are set up, the customs. But you bring her to the United States, now you've got a 12-foot shark on your hands when you thought she was a 3-foot shark. You thought that she was going to be a 3-foot shark no matter where she was in the world.
Right.
You did not realize that she was being constrained by the legal system in Africa. She was being constrained by the social pressures in Africa. You take her here, you bring her here to the United States, she might grow up to be she might turn into a much bigger shark than you had anticipated.
Right.
And so that's what I see as a divorce attorney a lot, because a lot of people want to go get women and bring them back here, bring them back to the United States, which is odd because supposedly the United States is not a great place to look for a wife. I mean, that's why you're looking for a wife outside of the United States in the first place. If you're one of these passport bros,
right?
Supposedly the United States is where you're trying to escape from. But then you go get a wife, you get a woman, and you bring her back. You bring her back really to the scene of the crime, right?
Right.
You've is everything working with the technology? Can you hear me okay?
I hear you just fine. I'm just
Perfect.
posting it on Facebook. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, so a lot of times if we're saying that the United States, that there's something lacking in the United States, if there's a reason that certain women have a certain mentality based on living here, why would it make sense to go get a woman from outside and then bring her back here when here is the problem, right? And what you're going to realize very quickly is that the laws here are going to be the laws here, no matter whether your wife is from Rio de Janeiro, whether she's from Johannesburg, whether she's from, the Dominican Republic, whether she's from Belize, whether she's from Barranquilla, is not going to matter.
Right.
The laws here are going to treat her like she's an American, which means, right, losing half of your house, losing half of your 401k, losing half of your brokerage accounts, the stocks in there, your AMC stock and your GameStop stock, right? Splitting up the cars. If you happen to have your kids, you can kiss those kids goodbye, because it's not like you're going to win custody. Let's be honest, right? You're going to be on the same visitation plan as every other guy, seeing your kid from Friday to Sunday, Friday to Monday morning, every other weekend. It's not what you had anticipated when you thought about having kids with this lady.
Right.
And so what guys need to realize is, number one, first, why are you getting married in the first place? What's wrong with the United States? Identify the things that are wrong with the United States. And if you identify things that are wrong with the United States, how do you think that's going to play out when you bring your woman to the United States? Right. And then number three, of course, if you decide to go ahead and marry, which is, fine. Even though I'm a divorce attorney, been doing this for 2 decades, I don't have an opinion on whether people should get married or not in general. I just want to give them the information so that they can make an informed decision.
Right.
And so if you want to get married here, that's fine. There are some protections. Number one is a prenup. It's really the biggest one, right? Okay. You should absolutely get a prenup. Now, you should get a prenup whether your wife is from Thailand or whether she's from Detroit. It doesn't really matter, right? If you're going to engage in this type of activity, which is entering into this marriage institution, you need to be protected. I'm telling you this as a 20-year divorce attorney. I've seen what happens to men when they are not protected, and it is ugly. It is absolutely ugly. So go ahead.
Guys, hit that like button again. Please hit the like button. Jamal, thank you so much for the super chat as well. I have been telling bros, why would you bring an African woman to the United States? It makes 0 sense. Jamil Shabazz has a good comment. He just made a comment in the chat room. A good woman who is serious about you will not change her core values no matter where she lives. What are your thoughts on that statement, lead attorney?
It's not true. It's just not true. And what he's saying is a very romanticized. See, and this is what I try to pull guys away from. Guys, we get deluded. You guys don't understand. This is really the whole point of my channel, guys, is to rip off this Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs fantasy land ideals that you guys have. Where, if she loves me, she will never change her core principles. Whoever says this I'm sure he's a good guy. He's not a 20-year divorce attorney, because I have seen thousands. People change. Let's just start from there. For example, people change. The wife that you marry at 25 is not going to be the wife that you're married to at 30, at 35. Let's be honest. You at 25 are not the same man that you are at 35. You
Oh yeah.
have changed. Maybe some of your principles have changed. Shout out to Raven Von
Right.
Cuervo. Yeah, she's an awesome, really awesome supporter. So many things are going to change. When he says core principles, those core principles do not apply to him. It could very well be that her core principle is she loves her mother. All right. Maybe that's not going to change no matter where in the world she is. It could be maybe her core principle is she's not a thief. That's not going to change. But how she deals with you, some guy she met when she was 27, some guy she met when she was 33, how she deals with you is going to be totally different. It's divorced of that core principle. Guys, don't ever think that you fall into a woman's core principle. And if you have kids with a woman, you will see that.
Right.
You will see the woman that you had before you had kids and the woman that you had after. Where you were in the priority list when you guys were dating versus where you are in the priority list when that 6-month-old comes into the picture. Right? What we're talking about, guys, are core changes. There are events in your wife's life that will change her. And I have seen it. And there are numerous events. And this is, shout out to the brother who's saying her core principles won't change. He's talking in this idealistic world, this fantasy world, which is no shame on him because this is what they try to teach us. They try to teach us love conquers all, right? And I'll love you forever. Meanwhile, women are over here divorcing men at a rate that's 70%. Women are filing 70% of the divorces.
Well, okay, legal turn. Not to interrupt you.
Please interrupt me because I'll go for the whole hour.
Okay. And then like a lot of times, so we've done shows on this before, and I've asked women like, why did you divorce your husband? And I would get the most vague and abstract reasons why, which just baffles me. Like, is it even? So my first question, because it seems like they could divorce, they could file for divorce for any reason.
Any reason.
How do you lead that prenup conversation? Like, how does that work? I mean, I when I talk to a lot of these sisters, like, hey, will you be down for a prenup when we have conversations like this? Why you need to get a prenup? You don't trust me. So how do you like lead into the prenup conversation as an adult and have a mature prenup conversation? And then number two, if you don't get the prenup, is it worth risking getting married?
Well, how do you do the prenup conversation? It's like sex.
Okay.
It can be good. You can do it in a good way or you can do it in a bad way. But even if you do it in a bad way, it's probably not going to be too bad, right? Right. And that's how it is with the prenup. It can actually be pretty bad. If you're standing at the altar and she's dressed in her gown and her family's there and hair and makeup done, her bridesmaids, and the little 6-year-old's about to come out with the rings on the pillow, and right before you pull out the damn prenup, you have not done it in a good way, right? You need to have that conversation way beforehand. Honestly, I recommend you having the prenup conversation maybe within the first 3 dates. Do not invest in a woman and then try to surprise her 2 years down the line. Now, it could be that you just want her for a reason. You just want this date for a season. If you just want this woman for a reason and you want to have your 3 dates, do what you need to do and then move on. You don't ever need to bring up the prenup.
All right.
But if you see very quickly that this is a woman that you could be serious about within the first 3 dates, bring it up. And don't put her on the spot. Slide it in. You back in high school, back in college, where they just put the tip in, right? Just just calm down, right? Just slide it just a little bit, just make an offhand thing. Yeah, because especially if the woman is anywhere around 28 or older, she's going to try to figure out where you are with marriage, your ideas. Because some guys are like, oh, I don't want to get married, and she's not going to want to invest her time in that type of man. So
Right.
you don't even have to bring it up, the marriage part. She's going to bring it up pretty quickly. And you can just make an offhand comment. Yeah, I'm definitely open to marriage. I like the stability. I like a family. And I want my wife to be protected. I want to be protected. One of the things I've already got, a prenup on standby. I'm ready to go. And if you say that in the first 3 dates, you put it out there. You didn't grill her. You didn't ask her, oh, how do you feel about a prenup? Can we do that? No, that's not being a man. You can't ask for important stuff if you can insist on it. Men need to stop asking for stuff. Men need to start insisting on things. You've been dating for 2 years, and now you want to sit her down and ask her how she feels about a prenup. How the hell do you think she feels about it? Right? You should have insisted on that prenup 2 years ago when you were sitting there at Taco Mac on your third date, or you're sitting there at Outback or wherever you are. Yeah, I really want a family. I really want to get married. A prenup is going to come along with that. I've worked hard. I'm successful, right? And on the third date, you're like, hey man, if you don't like it, you can walk, because I can get another date tomorrow. But you've already put it on the table. That's how you have that discussion. You have it as soon as possible. And if you are worried about losing her, then she's not the one, because when you're worried about losing a woman, that's the woman that's going to walk all over you. Right. Guys, you haven't seen what I've seen. I've been in these divorce trenches for so many years. I've seen men get walked on, just countless men walking on eggshells, scared of their wives. And you do not want to be that type of man. You guys have no idea how many unhappy marriages there are in this country. And you don't want to be that way. So if you were scared to run a woman off, that is the exact woman that you shouldn't be with. You should not be with a woman who has all this mental power over you, because then who's really wearing the pants in the family?
The woman.
Exactly. And what man wants to enter a relationship where you just take off your drawers and give it to her? I don't want to be in that type of relationship. So the best way to talk about a prenup is, almost immediately, certainly within the third date. If you've gone 5 dates and you haven't been mentioned a prenup, I don't know what you're doing, because that's kind of showing that you're scared. Now, maybe, listen, I'm a man too. All right. Maybe you want to hit one time before you. Okay. I get it. The leader, I'm going to cut you some slack. The lead attorney is going to cut you some slack. But after you hit a couple times, right? After you get in there a couple times, come on. If you are serious about getting married, some men know that they don't ever want to get married. You don't have to have this conversation. But if you know that marriage might be on the table with this particular woman, do not spring a trap on her. Do not blindside her with this. And the fact, if you feel like you need to be blindsided after you've hit a couple of times, that's a reflection that she is not the one for you. She's too strong for you. You need someone where you are comfortable acting in your manhood, not to be with someone who you are scared of. Same thing with these damn DNA tests. So many men in this country are raising children that are not theirs. And this 23andMe is exposing them. 23andMe is like one of the worst things that's come out for women, because it is exposing men to the truth. And so many men do not ask for paternity tests. So many men do not ask for DNA tests for their own children, because they are scared of the wife's reactions. They are scared of the baby mama's reactions. They are scared of the fiance's reaction. You should be having these conversations in the very beginning. Oh, it's nice to meet you. Yeah. Do you want kids? Yeah, I really do want kids. I've got this idea of having 2 sons. I've already got a savings account for them. They're not even born yet, but that's how much I feel about this. I really want to have a legacy. There's a huge part in me that wants to be a father. I'm super excited about it. I even got the names picked out. And once each one of them is born, to ensure that that's part of my legacy, I'm having DNA tests on each one of them. I'm going to frame them.
Mm-hmm.
and she's gonna be sitting there on the third date, like, really? You goddamn right.
Mm-hmm.
What can she say? You told her on the 5th date, you told her on the 6th date, you told her on the 3rd date. You guys wait till she's 9 months pregnant. Can I get a DNA? You guys are not acting. I really try to teach men to act in their manhood on the most important things. If you're working on your laptop or you're playing your Xbox at 9 at night and your wife comes in and she asks you to go to the gas station to put gas in the car, you don't really want to do it, but you do it fine. It doesn't really matter the small stuff. I'm talking about the big stuff. I'm talking about DNA tests. I'm talking about prenuptial agreements. The big stuff, you have to be a man. If you want to wuss out on running to Publix to go get her some pistachio flavored ice cream, fine, wuss out. It's not you got to go along to get along. Shout out to Kwame Brown, right? In a marriage is a lot of give and get, give and get. You're not going to be in a 10-year marriage where you haven't given a lot.
No, I want to read this comment real quick. Hold on let me scroll back up to it. Dynasty Mir, you, an attorney, come from a woman and you have this much disrespect, sadness. I hope women like this don't have sons. Like, I hope and pray women like this don't have sons.
Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just like, I just hope she doesn't have a son, because her son could possibly be coming to your office one day, with a situation.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I don't know about the person who made this. Is it a woman who made that comment?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know about this woman. Maybe she's not a good mother. Because I'll tell you what a good mother looks like. I had a good mother on my stream, right? Good mothers don't make this type of comment. You know what a good mother is? Shout out to M. King. You know what M. King told me? She's an older lady with a son. M. King says, I've already got my son's prenup on deck. She said, I already got the money for the attorney. All my son needs to do is pick out a fiance and go to the attorney's office, because his prenup is prepaid. His prenup is prepaid. She is a good mother. She wants to protect her son. There are women like this commenter. She only thinks about herself. Do you know the worst type of mother? The worst type of mother is a mother that only thinks about herself. The worst type of mother is a mother that prioritizes her interest over her child's interest. How do I know? Because not only am I the lead attorney, I'm also the lead guardian ad litem. What does that mean? A guardian ad litem represents children. You guys might not know this. The last 20 years, I've been representing children as well. 6-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 6-month-olds. I know what a good mother looks like.
How do you represent a 6-month-old?
Listen, there are terrible mothers out here. Mothers doing things to their children that you would not imagine.
Now. So let me stop you right there. So the example you're bringing up as far as mothers doing terrible things to children that we can't fathom. Many in the chat room, when we were having this conversation, they would still blame the man for that, or the father. What are your thoughts on that?
Sometimes fathers are horrible too.
Right.
I've represented kids where I've looked the mother and the father in the eye and said, neither one of you should be legal parents of this child anymore. Both of you should have your rights terminated to this child. There's some absolutely terrible fathers too.
Right.
But I don't, what they'll try to do is they'll try to shame you. I don't care what women say anymore. Right. I am telling men on my channel, and I'm not hating on women.
Right.
But I'm telling men on my channel, just disregard what some of these terrible mothers say. Like the mother that supposedly, I hope she didn't have any children. I hope she didn't have any sons.
Oh, I swear, I hope she doesn't have any sons.
Just like you said, there are great mothers out there too, like M. King.
Right. Absolutely.
So I don't ever want to paint women with a single brush. But I have seen so many things in and out of these courtrooms. No one can tell me. There's just so little that you could tell me about relationships. There's so little that you can tell me about parenthood.
Right.
Go ahead.
So how does the process work? Okay, so I find my guys, hit that like button again. Please hit the like button. Hit that like button, guys. So I find my wife in Africa or Brazil or whatever, marry her there. I decide that I want to go ahead and bring her to America. Can you walk us through that process? Like, how does that work? Does she automatically get a passport, a citizenship? When does she have the rights of, being a spouse in America? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that. But there's just this comment. I try not to look at these comments, but it's from like a Jenny Zone or something like that. Says the lead attorney needs to be careful before he gets blamed for bashing women. And see, this is what I just said.
Uh-huh.
If you're a man, you don't care about who's blaming you for anything regarding women, regarding bashing women. When you become a man, this is what I'm trying to teach you guys. When you become a man, you focus on yourself. You focus on your priorities, because guess what? Listen to what I'm saying, guys. To the extent that you are good, everybody else is going to be good. If you have a kingdom and you're the king, but you're worried about, oh, this person says you're bashing them. If you are good, if you are secure, if you are doing the things that you need to do for yourself, being truthful to yourself, everything else is going to work out for you. But it's the instant where you start biting your tongue about the truth. Maybe there's some side comments and you want to talk bad about somebody and you don't do it, fine. But never feel like you have to silence yourself when you're speaking in the truth for you. Don't worry about what random women say. Why is this gentleman worried about what random women say? I'm not. I don't care what random women say to me. I have enough random women on my channel who are good women. Enough random women on my channel who say, I'm going to support my son. I'm going to pay for my son's DNA test. I'm going to pay for my son's prenuptial agreement. So many of you are running scared of women. Mm-hmm. And you are not going to be a good head of the family. And I don't know who can tell you this, but you have not seen the number of men who I have seen get run over in their own relationships, get run over in their own marriages. If you saw what I saw, June Zone or wherever it is, you would not be scared of women. You would stand up for yourself. Now,
if you saw, and you've done thousands of cases, if you saw what I saw just dealing with the child support system, you would not be scared of women.
Exactly. It's exactly right. You gotta focus on yourself and not be scared. So many of you men are scared, and I get it. What women have is valuable and you don't want to run it off. I get it. I'm telling you, you're going to pay too high a price for not running it off. What you're trying not to run off is not worth what you are sacrificing. It's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not worth it. Now, I don't want to get too much into immigration. Okay. But what happens is once you get married, let's assume that you marry a woman from Mexico, for example. Right. You bring her back over here. It's difficult to come over here. You can't just come over here. Now, what a lot of people do, which is not legal, is they come over here on a student visa. Well, let me tell you the correct way. The correct way is just to get a K1 or a K2 visa, where you either get married over there and come over here, or you come over here and you have to get married within the 90 days. Okay. None of this is legal advice, let me say. Gotcha. So you get a K1 or a K2 visa. What some people do, which is not legal, but a lot of people do it, is they'll bring their wife over on a tourist visa. So they bring the wife over on tourist visa, let's say it's 6 months, and then they get married. Once they're married over here, then they file for their adjustment of status.
So not to cut you off, lead attorney, I'm so sorry. So if I marry my wife, say in Africa, and I bring her over, do we need to get remarried again, or how does that work if I marry her over there and bring her over? Like, is it you have to go through the process again as far as the marriage paperwork, or do you need to, or like how does that work?
It's a great question. No, the United States is going to, well, what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to believe in your marriage. It's gonna give validity to your marriage. If you get married in Nigeria, if you get married in Japan, if you get married in the Dominican Republic, if you say that you're married and you got the documentation and everything is fine, the United States is going to respect your marriage, right? And so you don't have to get married over here again. If you got married in Johannesburg and now you come here as a married couple, the United States is you're married. Now, if she wants to get divorced, she can divorce over here.
Oh,
one thing that you have to worry about though, and just be sure of, and I made a video about these destination weddings. You need to make sure that your marriage is really official. You can get married, for example, in the Congo, and you think that you're married, but then maybe some documentation was missing and comes to find out that you're actually not married. This typically benefits the man. Yeah, I was talking about in that video that I mediated a case. I'm also a mediator, and I mediated a case where the husband and wife got married in Mexico, came back. They had been together for, I think, 17 years, 20 years, 17 years. Turns out they weren't married at all. Why? Because there are two ways to get married in Mexico. You can get married por el civil, or you can get married por la iglesia. Por la iglesia is when you get married in the church. Por el civil is when you get married by a government official. Right. So por la iglesia is in the church. Por el civil is with the government official. Guess what? Only one of these ways is legally valid. If you get married por la iglesia, that doesn't count at all. That's just a ceremony. You're not legally married. The woman thought that, because the pastor was there, the exchange of rings, the guests, they were in the church, everything was nice. They had the reception afterwards. They did the whole thing. None of it was a legal marriage. So when she came back here 17 years later, she files for the divorce. The husband says, guess what? Guess what? You filed for divorce against me. You're asking for alimony against me. You're asking for half of the house that I paid for. You're asking for half of the stocks that I bought. Guess what? You're not getting a thing. You're not getting one thing. Everything was in his name. Because they didn't get married por el civil, they got married por la iglesia, by the church. And the way that you get married por la iglesia, it doesn't count. So it could absolutely be that you get married in the Congo somewhere, or you get married and you don't know all of the forms. You go through the whole process, but you're not legally married. So then if you're not legally married and you come to the United States, you cannot get divorced. No state in the United States will divorce you if you're not married.
Can I, sorry to cut you off. So no, you get married in the church, you bring her to America. Now, depending on the state you go to, if you're living with her for a certain amount of time, can that marriage turn into common law marriage? Is that the term? Or
yes, there's still common law marriage. Even there's common law marriage in Georgia. Now, no one really qualifies for it anymore, because to be common law married in Georgia, you would have had to have been common law married before, I think, 1996. Okay. So if you start living with a woman now, it's too late. You would have had to enter in that relationship in 96, I think, or beforehand. But for example, in Texas, you can move to Texas and there's not even a waiting period. In some states, maybe it's 7 years, 10 years. In Texas, it could be a day. If you move to Texas and you hold yourself out as a married couple and you're telling everybody that you're married and you're calling yourself husband and wife, you're playing like you're married, in one day, you could be legally married in Texas. And then if you move away, if you move back to Georgia, she can divorce you here because you got married by common law in Texas. So whenever you play house with a woman, you need to understand that there are risks, and every state is different. And there are absolutely states with common law marriages still on the books.
All right, guys, what we're going to do, we're going to take some callers. I'm going to put the link in the chat room. If you'd like to call in and ask a question. Again, if you would like to call in and ask a question, click the link. It's in the chat room. Again, link is in the chat room. If you want to come and join the conversation, you're more than welcome to. Link is in the chat room. Click on that link and come join the conversation. So Man, so basically, if we have a traditional wedding in Africa, all right, and the government, here's a good question. So in many countries in Africa, you can have a traditional wedding, you can have an Islamic wedding, then you can have, I guess, go through the court system. So if you have like a traditional wedding or I guess an Islamic wedding, in fact, I read about a case not too long ago here in America where it was an Islamic marriage, and I guess the judge threw it out or something happened. I don't know if are you familiar with what I'm talking about, lead attorney?
No, I don't know. But here's the thing: you better be legally married. That's the thing. And if you do not have proof that you're legally married, a judge can throw it out. And when you start talking about Islamic marriages, those can have different requirements, and a judge over here doesn't really know about it.
Right.
So you can absolutely make an argument. Yeah, judge, we did 7 of these 9 things, but we had to do 9 and we only did 7. And you could absolutely win on that, because how the hell do we know? Right?
Trucker says, I want a husband from abroad, South America. All right, so here we go. Let's flip it now. Lead attorney. So there are a lot of, you seen how Stella got a groove back, right?
Yes, that was a long time ago. I don't remember it, but I remember seeing.
All right, so you have a lot of sisters going to Africa, going to Ghana, who are doing well in corporate America, who have money, who are hooking up with these village boys who, don't have much. Now, say she brings her village boy to America. They get married. She brings him to America. What can happen to her if she brings him? Like, what's the worst thing that can happen?
She would be in the same boat, but her situation would be better, because society does not expect a woman to work, but society expects a man to work. So even if, she meets someone, what state did you say, or what country?
Oh, just anywhere, Ghana. We'll say Ghana.
Let's say Ghana. If you meet a guy in Ghana and you bring him back, when he comes to the United States, people are going to expect this guy from Ghana to start working. So, if she has a prenup, she's going to be 100% protected. So the trucker, then she could get screwed. And women now are paying more alimony. All divorce attorneys, we're having cases now where women are actually the breadwinners, and women now are on the hook for alimony. You just saw Halle Berry. She was in like a 7-year battle to reduce her child support payments, but her child support payments were so high, they really were alimony. She was paying $18,000 a month. That's in child support, but it's really alimony. It's like $3,000 in child. If you're paying $18,000 a month, it's really $3,000 a month in child support and $15,000 in alimony. Let's be honest. And so she had to fight for 7 years to stop paying that extra alimony. So women are absolutely becoming the breadwinners now. It's 2021. Women are doing it. And but now they are also getting exposed to the same liabilities, the same risks that men have typically had.
Yeah. If Halle, they were like, all these black men are treating Halle wrong. She need to get her a Snow King. She got her a Snow King. Now the Snow King is getting $18K a month.
Yeah. He was killing it. I think the judge reduced it now to like 6,000 or something like that, or 12, but she fought for 7 years to get that damn thing reduced.
Yeah. Snow King getting 12K. Y'all be talking bad about Pookie and Ray Ray.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Snow King came up.
Yeah, it was a big come up.
All right, Kenneth, go ahead. Kenneth.
Yes, sir.
Kenneth.
Wow.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got pretty fast.
Go ahead.
Okay. I had a quick question. What are some of the advantages of marrying someone from overseas in terms of citizenship? One thing I noticed is that a lot of immigrants from overseas, when they marry Americans, or they just marry someone from their country, that they can work in the United States, but at the same time take advantage of opportunities in their country. Whereas a normal American, if we went to China, we couldn't get citizenship, we couldn't buy any property. I had a friend of mine, he's African American. He had married a Chinese woman, and he was able to go back to China because she was a Chinese citizen and take advantage of the opportunities since she was a citizen. Is there any kind of advantage in regards when you have like the woman is from like an expanding market like China, and an American can't get citizenship, they can't buy any property, but since she's a citizen, she can take advantage of land and that type of thing. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Does that make any? For example, here's my thing. I noticed that a lot of foreign nationals that vacation in no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. We're trying to understand it. We're trying to
Hello?
understand. Yeah, we're
Hello?
trying to understand your question, Kenneth. Kenneth, hello?
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, I'm here.
Kenneth, we're trying
Is
to get
there
your
any
question.
advantage? Okay, is there any advantage business-wise, the marrying a foreigner in a large company with huge markets? Did you understand my question?
Well, Kenneth, it depends on the country, Kenneth. Each country, their laws are different. So,
Of course, the country. What I'm saying is that certain things, an American can't go to China and buy land in China, but you can buy the land through the wife. Maybe I'm confusing everybody. Okay, all right. Well, thank you
yeah.
very much.
Okay, thank you. I don't. Yeah, it just depends on the country, Kenneth. I don't. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. It depends on the country. So, all right. Rami Peso, go ahead. Rami, unmute yourself.
How y'all doing today?
Great. How are you doing?
You hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we hear you. Go ahead.
Right. And I really don't have a. Okay, cool. I really don't have a legal question, but I will say this: it's very important to vet our wives, of our potential wives, more than anything. And I know it. I know it. That's not an exact science, but the vetting process is very important because you can have a lot of issues down the road. So it's very, very important to vet these women. It doesn't matter if they're in state in America or overseas. I think that's very, very important to vet these young ladies because you could run into trouble somewhere down the road. Not saying that you can't run into trouble in the future if you do vet them, but I'm just saying I think that's probably one of the biggest things because you want to kind of get a feeling of who you're marrying and who you're going to be spending your life with. So the vetting process is very important. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely, brother. We agree. We agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Guys, links in the chat room. We'll take a couple more callers. If you'd like to call in, click on that link. Again, if you'd like to call in, please click on that link and call in and add to the conversation. Somebody said, I think the last caller had to talk in code instead of just outright saying weekday. His quotation was, I don't know. Okay. Yeah. So again, links in the chat room. If you have a question, if you want to add to the conversation, go ahead and call in. Let's see here. I heard that when you marry someone from overseas that you sign a legal document that you are responsible for the things, criminal or bad behavior that person does in the country. Is this true?
What country?
I don't know. I guess I don't know when it comes to America. Maybe if you bring a wife to America, you're responsible for.
No. Although, if you are trying to get her, let's say you bring a wife. When
Hold on, go. You got to turn off the playback, brother.
although you were trying
You got to turn off the playback.
to,
Okay, go.
okay. If you bring a wife, let's say from the Dominican Republic, and you apply for her immigration status while she is a permanent resident, so that in order for her to become a permanent resident, you have to sign what's called an affidavit of support, which means that during the time that this application is pending, and even when she becomes a permanent resident, anytime before she's a citizen, you have to make sure that she is not going to become a ward of the state, that she's not going to, let's say, example, apply for welfare or something like that. and she can absolutely get money from you. You will absolutely be responsible for her finances while she's in the immigration process.
Okay.
So financially, yeah, you will have some support obligations.
Okay. Someone was asking, do you know any judges involved in child support scams?
No, I don't know any judges involved in child support scams. A lot of the whole process, so much of it is a scam. You can kind of say that all judges are involved in it, right? To the extent that the child support process itself is a scam.
Right. All right, guys. So once again, links in the chat room. We'll take a couple more callers. And guys, when you call in, have you. Okay, Sir Will. Shout out to Sir Will. Sir Will's in the queue. Sir Will, go ahead. Sir Will, you got to meet yourself.
Hey, how you doing, brothers?
Good. How are you?
Great. How you doing?
Good. You're the man, leader Tony. You're the man. All right. So
thank you.
Here's the deal. You know what it's been saying. The main issue with the US is basically the environment, the system. You know. So if you bring a woman over here, I'm sorry to say it, you're gonna probably face the same issue that we've been facing out here in the US. So, you know, all this stuff that the leader Tony has been talking about on his channel is still going to apply to you anyway, you know? So, yeah, so I don't know how's that going to work out. I don't know if is there some type of, how can I say that? Some type of system that we can use that is foolproof if we bring a woman over here, or, I mean, I don't know. Is there something that could protect us, or is still the same? What you call it? What's that thing called? The thing that we signed before.
The prenup.
Prenup. Yeah. The prenup still applies, or is there something else that we can, we can use to protect ourselves?
Yeah. The foolproof way, because what you're saying is, what's a foolproof way to protect yourself? All right. Let me ask you a question. What is a foolproof way for you what's a foolproof way for you to protect yourself from a sexually transmitted disease?
Condom. Basically abstinence.
There you go. So what's a foolproof way for you to protect yourself from getting screwed over in a divorce?
Basically not get married.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right, Sir Will. Sir Will is on it. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's the foolproof way.
Oh man, it's so tough in these streets, man. I'm telling you.
Yes.
I mean, because at the end of the day, we all want to get married, but just like Dennis was talking about, and you were talking about it too, is that most of the divorce have been filed by women.
Yes.
So
it's right.
It's a really hard situation that we live in right now. I'm actually thinking about doing the whole thing overseas and just leaving my wife overseas and just visiting her, or buying a house over there or whatever,
You mean just visiting back and forth?
Yeah, back and forth, I'm thinking about doing that,
I don't think that's going to work.
Why?
I have represented so many men in the military. I've represented so many pilots. Pilots get cheated on every single day. There's not one pilot that can stay married for 15 years. You cannot leave a woman for months at a time and expect it to work.
Oh, snap.
Have there been men in the military who've gone off on these 6-month tours, 12-month tours, 18-month tours, and they're still married for 20 years and nothing ever happened? Probably yes. Sir Will, you cannot count on that. A woman is just a person. All right, that's all a woman is.
Yeah,
you cannot leave her for 4 or 5, 6 months at a time. You will be disappointed.
Yeah,
and especially if you buy a house and things like this, you will have other men sleeping in your house. And this is coming from a 20-year divorce attorney. This is not like some friend that you have at the gym. I'm telling you from my professional knowledge. It is an absolutely bad idea to leave a woman alone for 5, 6, 7 months at a time.
Long show Kwame is going to step in.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. That's exactly right.
But I mean, you're right. I mean, maybe. So I mean, so what do you recommend? So you just want us to stay single? I mean, what we're supposed to do? You know?
Sir
What are we
Will,
supposed to
let
do?
me just ask you because I see your photo, a beautiful
Yeah.
photo there on the beach. You're
Yeah.
chilling. Let me ask you, how old are you?
Oh, I'm 40.
All right, have you been married before?
I have.
And you're divorced.
Yes.
Why on earth do you want to get married again? It's not to have kids, right? Why?
I don't know. I don't know. To be
All
honest,
right,
you know.
we'll stop right there.
Yeah.
Stop right there.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't know why this is, I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember Dynast.
Yeah.
When you asked me about bringing women back and stuff like that, I said no, that's too far. You have to go from the very beginning. What did I say? Just Sir Will, you need to go back to the very beginning of this interview. Because what I said at the very beginning applies to you right now. What I said was you need to know why you want to get married. I just asked you why you want to get married. What'd you say? I don't know. To me, that's an automatic no.
Oh yeah.
It's an automatic no. Marriage is such a crucial obligation that you need to know exactly why you want to get married. And you need to believe in it. It needs to be a belief, not just a want, not just a desire. It needs to be a burning belief. The fact that I ask you why, and I'm not shooting at you because the vast majority of men get married with your same answer. That's why when Prince Dynast asked me how to protect men, I said, no, we're going way too far. We need to go back to the first step. The first step is, why in the hell do you want to get married in the first place? And I just ask you this, Sir Will, and you say you don't know, which I think probably is one of the most common answers. So I'm not shooting at you. I'm not blaming you. There's no shame in your answer. I'm just telling you your answer is insufficient. Your answer will lead to your divorce.
Yep. I mean, I didn't hear what the last part. What did you say? I didn't hear what you said.
Your answer will lead to your divorce.
To your divorce. No,
Yes.
no, I agree with you. But at the end of the day, I'm in a tough situation, to be honest.
Your sound kind of went out.
You went out.
I went out.
Now we hear you.
Okay.
You went out.
So
you went out.
basically, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. So basically, I'm in a tough situation because, I'm a single father, basically. I have custody of my kids. By the way, I had a great divorce lawyer. And, and I remember that last live that you guys have had about divorce or whatever. And I do not recommend being pro se, by the way. So anybody listening out there, please don't be pro se. I think there was this guy who was coming and talking about all this crap or whatever. Please don't do that. It cost me a lot of money, but it was worth it.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So basically, so when you're a single father, sometimes you think about those kind of issues, maybe I should get married again, because taking care of my kids. I mean, things like that come to your mind. But at the same time, the risk at this point of my life is far too great, So I don't know if you guys listen to Coach Greg Adams, for example.
I do.
So he's a big advocate of the free agent lifestyle. And honestly, listening to the lead attorney and then seeing after living through some of the experience that I lived through, I think I might even go to that. I might even opt for that option, choose that option of the free agent lifestyle or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's so tough, That environment is so toxic. It's so toxic because I don't know. Even with the freaking prenup, like you said, the prenup is not going to help you with child support, for example.
Correct. You're absolutely right.
All the prenup does is just protect you, all your assets, and against alimony or whatever. Does it protect against alimony? I'm not too
Yes,
sure.
it does protect against alimony. You're exactly right, but it's not going to protect your kids getting taken away. It's not going
Yeah.
to protect you getting some BS child visitation schedule. It's
Yep.
not going to protect you against child support for another 18 years. You're
Oh,
absolutely right.
yeah, and and women are so vindictive when it comes to those kind of things that they will use.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, for real. I've seen it. I'm telling you. Take this. Let me give you another example right now. Okay, right now I have custody of my kids, right? But for the summer, they have to go to their mom's house. So they go to their mom's house, and basically, she won't even let me talk to them. So, just because she's being vindictive. So think about this.
Exactly right. That's exactly
If
right.
if I did not have primary custody of my kids, I would be a dead man right now. I'd be one of those people talking about child support on YouTube all the time.
Right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Exactly. So it's a really tough situation to be in. It's a really, really tough situation
Let me
to be
ask
in.
you, does your wife owe you more than $7,000 in child support?
Oh yeah, she does.
You see, you do. This is
She
a
does.
divorce. This is a divorce attorney. This is a divorce
Yep.
attorney for 20 years. Now, if it
Yep.
was a man owing $7,000 in child support, the man would be in jail. Let me ask you
Bro.
something. Are your children's mother in jail?
No.
No.
And that's exactly what I was going to talk about. Not only
I already
is she not
know.
in
That's
jail.
the thing. I already know this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly
and
right.
talking to the judge, going through the whole system, I had custody, but I felt as if I was the one being blamed for everything. I was like, damn, I can't even imagine if I did not have custody. I'll probably be buried right now. So this system is definitely not fair.
Agreed.
I mean, and I'm talking from a guy who has custody.
You're
I have
absolutely
primary
right.
custody of my kids. So imagine if I did not have custody of my kids.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I can't even fathom that. It's incredible. But anyway, appreciate it, guys. Thanks again for all you guys, what you guys are doing, and then basically, thanks again.
No problem.
No problem. Guys, we'll take one more caller. Again, we'll take one more caller, then we're going to close out. Link is in the chat room. If you want to call in, go ahead and click that link. And you're more than welcome to call in. Lead attorney, since you've been doing this 20 years.
Yeah, and I have to go in about 10 minutes. But yeah, if there's another caller that wants to come in.
We'll take one more call. That's it.
Yeah.
What are you starting to see a shift with more deadbeat moms versus dads?
No.
Okay.
So most moms are deadbeat moms when they don't have custody, but that's because deadbeat in the sense that they owe 10,000 or 20,000, but that's because of the men. The men are. What do the men say? Oh, well, I have a job. I make enough money to support my kids, and men don't really ask for the mothers to be incarcerated. But when the shoe's on the other foot, women are all about incarcerating the men.
Right.
So women are kind of deadbeats, but it's kind of by consent of the guys most of the time, if I'm going to be honest.
Right.
Let's say the gentleman, Sir Will, let's say he's owed $15,000 in child support. I got another question for him. When is the last time he filed a motion for contempt? He hasn't.
Right.
Like, I already know, right? So that's the thing. A lot of women are deadbeat moms, but it's because the dads allow them to be deadbeats, to be honest. But there's not really a shift towards it, because for women to be deadbeat moms, that means they have to lose custody. And women are not out here losing custody.
So we'll go ahead and do this. We'll go ahead and start closing out, lead attorney.
Okay.
Lead attorney, anything else you'd like to share in closing?
No, I just want to thank you as always for having me on. I really appreciate it, Prince Dynast. Thank you so much.
No problem. And I'm coming on. If you're free next week, I'd love to come over there on your platform next week, and we could
hook that up. Yeah.
Absolutely. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. If you're not subscribed to Lead Attorney, please go to the Lead Attorney YouTube. Go over there and subscribe. He's giving free game that he'll charge $300 an hour for. Some attorneys do, or even more. I can only imagine how much they charge per hour in California, in LA.
Yeah, in
So,
California and in New York, it could be almost
Yeah.
like 1,000. It's crazy.
yeah. So guys, make sure you go subscribe. The Elite Attorney. Like, share, and subscribe here if you're not. Till next time, family. Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. Peace.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.